Good morning, councillors. And that's what we're talking about today, isn't it? Councillors and the recent council elections in Scotland. Now, I think Simon outlined the situation very well in his last video and left a good launching platform for us to continue this discussion. I think the place to start is with the council elections. I want to say first off, I didn't vote in those elections, and it's not because I'm not interested in politics. I'm very interested in what happens to our country and ultimately what happens to the world. But the reason I didn't vote is that most of the councillors seem to be going after the same kinds of goals. I ended up reading every leaflet or brochure that was put through my door in relation to the elections, and what I found was that where the councillors were willing to tell us what they wanted to do, they seemed to have very similar goals that didn't differ too much from each other. And at that point it doesn't really matter which one of them was going to run the council, and at the end of the day it didn't really matter. We have a strange voting system up here called the single transferable vote system, which essentially guarantees that there won't be a majority in any of the constituencies. Instead, what we have to do is look at who has the most seats in each area, and what we find there is that the SNP and Labour have got a big lead, with the Conservatives having 2 constituencies. I can't even see a single Liberal Democrat. Democrats used to be quite a big party in Scotland, and the reason for their drop-off, I presume, is a reflection on their joining forces in a coalition with the Conservatives, who are probably the least popular party in Scotland. That nicely brings me on to a more national scale. Let's not think about the local council elections and picking them apart, because really, from what I could see, most of them were interested in the same kinds of issues and were looking for the same kinds of assurances and the same kinds of resolutions to those issues. But nationally, we've got quite a different picture. Scotland! Freedom! Contrary to what that clip suggests, I'm not actually a nationalist. And although I believe that Alex Salmond is a great leader, and he's probably the best option out of everybody in the UK even to be a political leader, that doesn't mean that I agree with what his party's trying to do in separating Scotland from the rest of the United Kingdom. I'm actually of completely the opposite view, and I believe that any further devolution would actually harm what is inevitable and what needs to happen for our world to move forward towards more centralised power. Because as we see, although yes, there are issues that can only really be dealt with within Scotland for the Scottish people, that doesn't mean that we need to be completely autonomous and distance ourselves from the rest of this small island that we occupy. Now, I'm not suggesting that we hand over all of our powers to Westminster. I'm not suggesting that the UK hands over all its powers to the European Union, but we have a trend where we're expanding to become a global community right now, and I think it's important that our governments understand that. I think Devo Max, as they call it, or ultimately independence, are both bad moves as far as trying to resolve global issues. A small, independent North European country with a little bit of oil and a few great mines. Now, I don't doubt that we can achieve great things. Believe me, we can. It's just, why do we need to move off and become our own little bit of this island? Seriously, the UK is tiny compared to some of the other powers in the world. All that would happen is we would dilute our power to the point that no part of the UK was up on that global stage where they can actually make a big difference. Screw it. Give Ban Ki-moon the keys. Let the UN run this. I think that's enough politics for one video. Guys, sorry this upload's taken so long. I had to move house and get all of that sorted, and then I didn't want to tackle this when I wasn't in the mood to tackle it, because I don't want to put something out there that is not correct in what I'm saying, and obviously this is a political video, so it's kind of important that you get that stuff right. If I was just vlogging, if I was just messing around, then maybe it would have been quicker. But, you know, hopefully this is good enough for you, right? Corey, we want to hear where you stand on this. And Simon, if you've got anything to add, feel free.